I'm in my second year as president and CEO of PCI, and I've learned that leading a major industry trade association is a lot like running a presidential campaign, something that I've had the opportunity to observe up close and personal on a couple of occasions now. And this is apparent when we consider the state of our industry and the challenges and the formidable opponents that we face. Let me draw out those parallels a little bit this morning. We are encountering a volatile combination of significant economic, regulatory, and political headwinds. And just like in politics, where the old tried and true ways of raising money and getting people registered and turning out your vote no longer apply, so also in the world of business. The old ways about thinking about policy and doing business are no longer going to be sufficient to ensure our success. This past year, we have experienced a once-in-a-lifetime economic crisis, and the terms of debate regarding the regulatory architecture for this new world has fundamentally shifted. Earlier this month, President Bush hosted at Camp David French President Sarkozy and European Commission President Jose Manuel Barroso. And President Sarkozy was there to advocate for a global regulatory framework for the financial services world. November the 15th, the President is going to host a G20 summit to discuss financial services regulatory reform. And I can guarantee you that the majority pressure at that G20 summit, which will also include UK President Gordon Brown, is going to be for a supranational or a global regulatory system for the financial services sector. I suspect that what President Bush is going to be doing is staking out a position of internationally coordinated national regulatory plans that are updated and better able to identify the systemic risk that we've seen emerge. But I lay that out for you because the way that we have typically thought about this debate as state versus federal is rapidly being superseded by discussions of global versus national regulation. And that's just an example, one example, of how fundamentally altered the policy world has become. And I don't think it's an exaggeration when I say that there truly has been a tectonic shift where the continents have broken apart, the continents as we knew them. The full fallout from this crisis is not yet clear, but the one thing I can say with certainty is that the insurance industry must be strategically engaged in the upcoming debate on regulatory reform of the financial services sector. And PCI and the industry do this at a time that we're facing two countervailing forces or trends. The first is significant pressure on the revenue side of our industry, and thus our trade association. And secondly, the most challenging policy and advocacy environment that we have faced at any time since the end of the Second World War. And how we handle and manage these two countervailing forces will largely determine our success going forward. Now, anticipating a fundamentally changed environment where the default setting is for more intrusive regulation, all segments of our industry, I think, are going to need to work much more closely together in ways that we have not done in the past. If our fundamental approach coming into this new world is to pit one segment of the industry against another or one trade against another, our opponents, our foes, are going to be able to divide and conquer and advance their own agenda. And so I think in this new world we're going to need to collaborate much more closely than what we typically have done throughout history. We're going to need to work together in ways to help educate policymakers and staff on the vital role our industry plays, the strength of our products and policies, the strict solvency regulations that are already in place, and the contributions that we as an industry make to the American economy.